No, this is certainly not a Farmers Weekly tractor special. Believe it or not, Morgan and I are here to talk about luxury sedans.
Look, let's face it, for the South African motorist, there's only the choice of BMW, Mercedes and Audi. I mean, nobody's been able to get a look, and it's been a pretty barren field and slim pickings for any would-be competitor to that luxury title.
Yeah, so all the other manufacturers are really in left field trying to compete with these famous luxury brands. Interesting then with Peugeot, because I think they've probably had the leanest pickings, I suppose.
Yeah, which makes the 508 really interesting, because now you've got a premium car, premium quality, premium price, and they're saying, well, hang on a second, we can take these Germans on.
So do you think this is going to be the car that's going to return a really good harvest for Peugeot?
Look, if nothing else, at least it's going to make Peugeot sexy to the young and not just to the old verkrumpters.
If it's a younger crowd Peugeot hopes to attract, then the styling is definitely a step in the right direction. The 407's Cheshire Cat grin makes way for the new family face that was first seen on the SR1 concept car. Incidentally, it is also the face of Peugeots to come, the first of which will be the new 208.
Reaping what you sow would kind of be something that Peugeot is hoping is going to start happening, because they've been bringing out really good products.
Yeah, I mean, Peugeot's really had this makeover in the last several years, haven't they?
Yeah.
Just a fantastic range of products. You look at that, the concept cars that eventually made it onto the road, the RCZ, for example, which we have here in South Africa right now. And this really replacing, what, 407, 607,
yeah,
kind of odd-looking, quirky, really unwieldy cars in terms of the design. This is a lot more complete. You've got a design that's really attractive at the front end. I'm not crazy about the rear end, but it's probably going to grow on you, like rear ends tend to.
Yeah, funny that.
But it actually does look like a more complete, good-looking sedan. That's actually fantastic shoulder lines. You look at those sort of torsion lines alongside the car. Hint of Volvo S60, hint of kind of Lexus at that rear end there. But no doubt, Peugeot have really upped their game. It is a fantastic looking, you read all the PR speak about it and they talk premium and perceived quality. There's nothing perceived about it. It is right here. Look at this detail, the wonderful touches. I wasn't expecting it from this car, I have to be honest, and it really has taken me by surprise.
A few things for me. I'm glad that they've simplified their product line, because I think that's part of the challenge they have in South Africa. Just keep it simple, bring out good products, and don't confuse consumers too much choice. But you talk about that perceived quality. I mean, you step inside this, and for me it felt like if you could take the flair of French with the quality, build, integrity of the Germans, you're going to be onto something. And the minute you step inside this 508, that for me seems like the perfect child if you merge those two together, because it is simple in terms of its layout, soft touch materials. And I mean, I know we're in the top spec GT line, so it's got the soft touch dash, the leather steering, leather seats, but entry level, as we know with all French cars, it literally comes with everything. It makes it a very tough thing to ignore. You spoke about the front end. This kind of is the new look Peugeot design DNA. Triangular lights. You actually notice that the grille is sitting slightly recessed slightly under the bumper. Interesting lines. I think the front end is a lot to talk about. You don't like the rear, but I like the little lion paw marks they've got with their LED lights. So it's pretty interesting.
Yeah. I think the big question is going to be for any consumer and any customer out there, why should I go and spend close to 410,000 Rand on this particular vehicle as opposed to the rivals, particularly the German rivals? And the question can be answered very simply. Compare it, apples for apples. What does this car have? Comfort features, safety features, the side airbags, the curtain airbags, the amount of safety that's been put into this car, the amount of elements, number of elements in terms of all the creature comforts. It really is stuck to the hilt. Of course, having said that, creature comfort, safety features aside, it's going to come down to the drive. This is a sensational motor. You've got a 2.2 litre diesel, fantastic drive, fantastic power, effortless. It sounds and it feels refined. Really, when you're driving it, you don't realize it's diesel. You don't have that kind of typical diesel burble, and you've got a wonderfully refined motor here, 150 kilowatts, 450 Newton meters. So your pulling power is there. Up at the high fault, down at the coast, you are not going to battle.
The new diesel motor is a lot heavier, so they've gone with a different setup in the front with a double wishbone suspension to obviously curb that extra weight of the engine in the front, but it really gives it a pretty crisp turn-in as well.
Yeah,
so
it's a lot sharper, it's a lot more solid, it's a lot more confident going into the corners. And so I think it really does compensate well for whatever it gains in weight.
Peugeot as well. I mean, NVH, the guys always now need to, when you're going premium, the guys want to get into a car that's super quiet. We obviously talking GT line, top of the range, but Morgan, even getting into the entry level, I mean, there are 3 engines to choose from. Obviously the new 2.2 and the GT, but there's a 2-litre diesel, and obviously the 1.6, that turbo petrol engine that people might think, you know what, that's going to be underpowered in a car this size, but this car is surprisingly very, very light. I think it's about 1.4 tons.
And that's the thing, that Peugeot is really focusing heavily on the greener side of motoring, so really producing more fuel efficient engines and overall efficiency built into their vehicles. Everything's really well thought out, well laid out. If you are a Peugeot skeptic, getting to this car, feel something that's totally different, that's going to blow your mind.
We've been saying for a long time, Morgan, bums in seat experience. I mean, once you do that, and you actually literally forget the badge, forget the brand, forget the status associated with certain brands in this country, and actually do the drive and do the comparisons, you're going to be kind of going, well, why shouldn't I be driving in one of these? And I know people are worried about maybe lack of parts and that sort of stuff, but for me, I'm thinking that's kind of a thing of the past. You know, with the Citroen Peugeot merger.
And they've answered that, hey, with their parts, accessories. They've got a huge parts supply now in the centre there.
5-year, 100-kilometre maintenance plan, your 3-year, 100,000 warranty, service intervals every 20,000. So whether you're getting into the top of the range GT or into the Active or the Allure, it literally comes with everything. I've been blown away by the standard list. So it's got climate control, it's got cruise control, multifunction steering wheel. I mean, they really haven't left anything off that list. But obviously GT, we're getting satellite that comes standard. Very, very nice for the driver. It's got a massaging function on the seats. It's just to get people to understand that in the 80s, the Audi brand was nowhere. It was comparable to buying an Opel. So what has changed? And I think the same thing is Peugeot is in that position now, where the product is there, the service is there. Now it's just time for the consumers to kind of go, hey,
absolutely,
I don't need to be in one of the
change
top 3
my
Germans.
mindset, go for something different. Where some of the others are a bit bland, this is definitely unique. It's definitely new. It's different, but it's still luxury motoring at its best.
Nice farming with you, Bobby.